And now here to shed more light on the issue is Gary Tabach, retired U.S. Navy captain. Gary, so good to have you back on our show on Eastern Express.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you very much. It's always great to be on the TVP, and you're one of the few people that pronounce my rank and my name perfectly.
So glad to hear. Gary, now, you have been one of our most vocal propellants of Donald Trump. So let me ask you a little bit. I'm going to ask you some challenging questions here. Now, first of all, Trump has called Zelensky a dictator without elections. But I mean, Ukraine is under martial law because of Russia's ongoing invasion. Now, let me ask you this. If the United States were the one to be invaded, would suspending elections under emergency powers make an American president a dictator?
Well, firstly, it's very sad that I was the only one proponent and defender of President Trump on TVP. I thought there would be a few more people, but it seems to me that I'm all like a lone soldier in a battle for that, because President Trump for over 8 years is being attacked unfairly and unjustly. And so I keep saying he didn't say that, or he didn't do that, or he didn't mean that. But yes, he called President Zelensky a dictator. That is correct. I think it doesn't matter what our law would be. The Ukrainian law says that under martial law, president remains president until a new president comes forward. For example, during World War II in Great Britain, during the war, powers were changed. Chamberlain stepped down, and the king asked Winston Churchill to step in and take over the country. Those things do happen in Israel. Israel under martial law, I think, nonstop. They're at war constantly. Sometimes it's low intensity, sometimes it's high intensity, but the elections do happen. But all of it is, I think, irrelevant, because the Ukrainian law, as far as I know, and I'm not a constitutional lawyer, that says during the martial law or during a war, the president remains until a new one comes.
Right, but I mean, Gary, I put you, just to challenge you here now, I did put you in that situation. That's why I specifically asked, if the U.S. were invaded, let's just picture that scenario, would then suspending elections, again, under that emergency power, make an American president a dictator? Because, I mean, this is what Trump did say about Volodymyr Zelensky. So now, this is the question that would be reversed to Trump.
I can't answer that question because I'm not a constitutional lawyer in the United States, and I've never asked that question. But what I'm trying to say is that President Trump has called other presidents' names, and he has, including Putin, including North Korean, including Iranians, and so forth, including our own presidents, former presidents, or the presidents that he had to deal with. President Trump has that tendency to do that. You have to understand the psychic of President Trump. You don't want to instigate that. You don't want to sabotage him. You don't want to provoke him to do those things, knowingly well how he reacts to those things. But it doesn't, I don't think he keeps it too long in him. And if things change, he'll change his statements from that guy is a fat bomb boy to, oh, he's a great guy, or vice versa, very quickly, depending on how the politics are going. But the thing is, you also have to understand there is a stigma with President Trump, because he has been unfairly blamed for investigations, for congressional investigations into the collusion with Russia and with Putin, and all of it was disproved. So when you say that President Trump is repeating statements from Putin, from a dictator, Putin.
But isn't he actually repeating Kremlin propaganda? Isn't he basing himself on the Russian narrative in this case? I mean, he said that Ukraine is the one that started the war, and let's be honest, that's not really what happened. Gary?
Well, the thing is, allow me to finish. And the thing is that this is something that President Trump will get upset when you try to say to him that he is working for Putin, or Putin has some kind of blackmail him, or he's repeating the rhetoric or the narrative that the Russians are putting out. He will answer, he will snap back at you, because this is what got him the impeachment for the first time. He was impeached over it, and it was unfair. It turned out to be not true. So why would you step on that banyan to flip him over? I don't understand. That's not good politics, especially knowing this. Now he's the most powerful man and the most popular president the United States has ever had in the United States, with the citizens of the United States. Now, again, this is the thing. Show me, please, where he said that Ukraine started the war. You know, a lot of journalists are saying those things, but we will be speaking for a few more minutes, maybe for
Gary. But I'm gonna interrupt you right there. There's something interesting that you said. You're asking, where did he say this? I'm gonna ask you this. Now, he did say throughout his campaign that he would be able to end this war in 24 hours. Now, I mean, if he did truly want to end this war, why hasn't he actually outlined a concrete peace plan instead of instead of just what we call it beyond vague claims that he will be able to finish this war in just 24 hours? Where was an actual draft of this peace plan compared to what we saw in Saudi Arabia, of what took place in Saudi Arabia?
Okay, well, you have a lot of things saying. First of all, again, I refer back. Where did he say that Zelensky started a war? He never said that. He said that the war would have never happened if he would have been a president, and it turned out to be at that time Zelensky didn't help him with the corruption.
Didn't he take out to his Truth social media platform to say that, Gary?
No, he didn't. I don't know. I never heard of him saying that. People write things up and stuff like this. But did he say that? Did he himself say that, or somebody said that he said that?
He sure wrote it on his platform.
Well, did he say that? Can you show a video where he's saying that? But let's go on with it. You're saying that throughout his campaign, he kept saying that he'll end the war in 24 hours. He said it once. He said once that I'll finish that war in 24 hours. And everybody grabbed onto it, and everybody's saying, oh, well, 24 hours passed by. There is such thing as a metaphor, and President Trump, again, speaks in metaphors all the time. We all do. And the president, you never had such rage with President Biden, who said that Putin will not remain in his chair or in his seat when President Biden becomes a president, and there'll be sanctions from hell. None of that happened. Putin's still a president. Biden already is not a president. He never, all those things that the politicians say, they're never really judged that harshly, because we know that they are politicians, except one. That his name is Trump. Whatever it does once, it's grabbed on, and that's spinned out of control, and it doesn't do any good. And so he never said that Zelensky started the war. Yes, he did. Him, the dictator. But again, he was instigated. President Zelensky said some things that are not very nice towards President Trump.
All right, Gary, let me ask you this. Trump, though, however, we did see, again, coming out of those talks in Saudi Arabia, that Trump does seem eager to restore American-Russian relations. But now my question to you is, at what cost? Now, wouldn't forcing Ukraine in a bad peace deal actually just reward Putin for his aggression? I mean, let's also be reminded, in Saudi Arabia, there was not even a word talk about Russian war crimes that have been committed in the past. We're going into 3 years of a war in Ukraine now.
Well, again, the thing is, it was not negotiations. It was a consultations between the ministers of foreign affairs saying, what do we need to do to go forward? And it is not a rewarding Russia with anything. They decided that in order to go forward, they need to reestablish diplomatic relationships between Russia and United States. Otherwise, how do you negotiate? So do you want the ministers of foreign affairs right away accusing Russia of war crimes when they're trying to say, okay, we need to do something to stop this war, to stop this massive killing and destruction of a nation? Well, in order to do that, what do we need to do? This is just consultations. That's not negotiations. And it really had nothing to do with Ukraine. It had to do to reestablish a diplomatic relationship between Russia and the United States. Otherwise, what do you suggest to do? Continue to fight, maybe bring the United States into the fight, Poland into that fight, NATO. So they're trying to do it peacefully. So this, and President Trump is the only one that's trying to do that. Not the German leader, not the Polish leader, not the French leader, not the Canadian leader. Why don't you guys step up and take that spot and go and say, okay, we will handle it. And we will try to bring peace and stop this war. So all you do is criticize the only man.
Is he really trying to do that? Bring peace, Gary?
Who did not start this war, who did not have anything to do with it, and all it is criticized. Asking about his plan, he kept saying it. I do have a plan, but I'm not going to tell you. Throughout his entire campaign, saying, I do have a plan, but I'm not going to tell you. Why would I open up my cards? Now, did President Zelensky told anybody about his plan that Poland or NATO or European Union have showed their plan? So the only person that has to have a plan and has to open it up to the whole world, including to Putin, is Trump. I don't think it's fair, to be honest.
Thank you so much, Gary Tabach, retired U.S. Navy captain, for being with us here on Eastern Express. Thank you for all your insight.
Thank you for inviting me.